you know what each character did in their lives after the end of Dr. Stone? Let's find out. So guys, how are you? I hope you're all well. I'm the Monio, the interdimensional demon that talks the most about Dr. Stone on YouTube, and you're on my channel. As you know, Dr. Stone came to an end in the manga, with the revelation of the mystery about the petrification of humanity, and also the resolution of the battle against Wyman. But let's see what happened after the last chapter, and what the characters decided to do in the new world. As there are many characters, there wasn't much space for the author to show what happened to each one at the end of the last chapter, but this information was later added as an extra, in the last pages of the last printed volume. Remembering that this video will make more sense if you already know the ending of Dr. Stone, and if you don't quite understand how it ends, watch my explained ending video, where I answer all possible doubts about Wyman and the entire outcome. I'll leave the link on the cards and also on the final screen. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it, as they are two videos that complement each other. Yuzuriha and Taiju got married, as we saw in the final pages of the last chapter, and they got together with Mirai and Ruri, and set up a fashion company. Their policy is not mass production, but rather making unique pieces with a lot of dedication. Taiju is supposed to be responsible for the heavy lifting, but there isn't much work in that regard, so his main role is moral support. Our protagonist, Senku, was essential to the construction of the new world, helping to rebuild the technology of the modern era, and he is currently working together with the Wyman who returned to Earth. He is trying to build a time machine, which could help humanity greatly, with the hope of even bringing back his father and those who died during the petrification process. Now the outcome of some characters from the scientific field, Zeno, Chrome, Suka, Kaseki, and Joel, fight to build the time machine together with Senku, and in fact in the last chapter we can see that they were all there, helping Senku. Ryujui and Francois have officially established the Ryujui conglomerate, which has been helping to recover the world, and Ryujui does this while discreetly gaining more power for himself, as he wants everything from the new world. We also have the character Sai, who is a mathematician and Ryujui's Indian half-brother. He was called to be part of the conglomerate. He accepted it without much enthusiasm, on the condition that he could continue as a game programmer. I believe that the Ryujui conglomerate is probably the one financing the construction of the time machine, since that whole project can't be cheap, and someone must be helping financially. Kahaku and Hamura had similar endings. They went on to teach self-defense for a police organization, and are very effective in maintaining public safety, and it's not very clear what organization this is, but I believe it's the same one that Hyoga is part of. Our dear mentalist Gen has become a diplomat, and we can see in the last chapter that he is traveling through several countries, doing diplomatic work, but he doesn't seem to like it very much. Tsukasa, a character who was one of the villains, now travels to all regions of the newly established world, and just by waving to people, he manages to improve local public safety, and being the strongest warrior, he has a lot of charisma. So Tsukasa's new job is a little similar to Gen's, a diplomatic job, but from what I understand, he goes to higher risk places, maybe places where peace hasn't been established yet, and he goes there to try to resolve this situation, not in a violent way, but in a diplomatic way. Now let's talk a little about the characters' warriors, Yo, Jinro and Kinro, Kirasame and Maz, Magma, and Matsukaze. They were all invited by Yo to be police officers. Kinro, Kirasame, and Matsukaze work with extreme dedication. Yo and Magma work fighting. Maz uses his position to flirt with women, and Jinro simply doesn't work. We can see that although they are all police officers now, they have not changed their personalities, and continue to live as they were before. In the case of Chelsea, who is a geographer, she has had a lot more work working in her field, since the geography of the entire planet has changed a lot, and she travels to various places around the world mapping places and updating maps of the planet. Hyoga, who was one of the great villains, was offered amnesty for his crimes, for his great contribution to the restoration of the world, but he refused the offer, and his situation remained undefined. Today he works as a trainer in a new police organization. This Hyoga case was a little confusing, since he refused the amnesty, but I believe that in this case the amnesty is valid and he was pardoned anyway, since he is working for a police organization, so his situation, in the truth, is not that elusive. Luna, a character from the medical field, continued her studies in college, and the description says that if she works hard and becomes an incredible doctor, maybe Senku will be attracted to her. Sometimes she gives up and sometimes she doesn't. For those who don't know, this character is in love with Senku and continues trying to win his heart. Yukio, on the recommendation of Tozo, became leader of the recovery government due to his pacifist ideals, and today he is involved in bureaucratic services, being fundamental for the recovery of the new world. Some characters had very brief descriptions, such as Stanley, who is an airline pilot, and Minami, who is a journalist. And finally we have Nikki, who started to live a normal life as a university student, but now being the oldest in the class, a younger student declared to her at college recently, leaving her very confused. The course she is taking at university is not mentioned, but this ending was cool, as it shows that some simply started to have a more common life, closer to our reality. But what about you? Did you like the endings? Would they change anything? Leave it in the comments, and if you liked the video, subscribe to follow the next content. Until next time my people, demonic hugs.